Hey class, I just want to say welcome back from lunch, and I wanted to commend you guys and say thank you for coming in so quietly and having a seat right back at your desk. So we're going to be getting into a math lesson today. Can anybody tell me what we were learning about during last class when we were talking about math? Thank you. Yes, we have been going over whole numbers. We've been going over place value of whole numbers. We've been talking about the relationship between whole numbers and fractional numbers. And so today, that's what we're going to be going further into. Yeah, so the standards we're going to be addressing today are going to be about fractions. So we're going to be explaining the equivalence of fractions in special cases and compare fractions by reasoning about their size. We're going to recognize and generate simple fractions, simple equivalent fractions, and explain why the fractions are equivalent. We'll be using manipulatives, visual models, and we're going to express whole numbers as fractions. And at the end of the lesson, we're going to compare two fractions with the same numerator or the same denominator, and we're going to, again, reason about their size and see which one is greater than, less than, or equal to. This lesson is going to help us build understanding of fractions, so then eventually, further down the line, we're going to learn how to add and subtract, multiply and divide fractions, just like how we've been doing with whole numbers in the past. So in order for us to get there, we first need to understand fractions and their sizes. So as we go through this lesson, before we get started, I want us to come up with our own learning goals for this lesson. So things that we need to think about, or maybe the big questions on why learning fractions is important. Why is it important to understand fractions? How do we use fractions in our daily lives? So the skills that I'm going to be wanting you guys to master by the end of this lesson or of the course of a few days is you guys will be able to explain equivalence of fractions, be able to compare fractions, recognize and generate simple equivalent fractions, express whole numbers as fractions, and compare two fractions and reason about their size in order to tell whether or not they're greater, less than, or equal. Would anyone like to share their I can statement with the class on what they have as their personal learning goal? Thank you. All right, so what we're going to be doing is we're going to be watching a YouTube video first. I want everyone to show me their quiet hands and their listening ears. Thank you. This video is going to be about 3. Okay, so we finished watching the YouTube video. And before we break into our ability group, I think that we should, as a class, do a visual example and gain a little bit of a better understanding of what it means to split a whole number into different parts. Sheet, one for each ability group, okay? And what I want you to do, we're going to be using manipulatives for our first rotation. You do not actually need to be filling out this worksheet. Now, if you finish early, this is what I'm going to have you do. You're going to do this worksheet if you finish early. But what I want you to do is I want you to pay attention to the fraction in each box, each fraction for each ability group. And I want you to, using your manipulatives, recreate those fractions. I want you to do that as a group. You guys can work with one another, work collaboratively, a different set of fractions, and you guys will be drawing those fractions out on. Guys, open up your Chrome notebooks, and you are going to go to education.com/game/pancake fractions. This one I want you guys to do independently. So you're going to be splitting back up, going back to your desk, and this is going to be your exit ticket for today. Some of you only may complete the first row, and that's fine. Other ones you're going to do all 3, and you might even want to work on this extra worksheet while you wait. Just as long. Also, remember students, when you're working on this worksheet here, your exit ticket, you have your graphic organizers available to you. Use them. They're going to help you a lot.